What is up, race fans? Welcome back for the third and final day of the Tulsa Tough Criterium. So, bear with me as I get set up a little bit. The day kind of ran away from me, so I'm trying to compile all the results and Omnium points from yesterday for both the pro women and pro men. But I figured we start a little bit early today and just show the Cat 1-2 men finish up. So while they're finishing up, I'm going to start pulling all this data together so we can... Did anyone see that guy go around that corner? That was a very tight... He had inches to spare before running into that curb. So... 4 laps to go for these guys. This is going to be a different race today. These races are going to blow apart. As you see, this is a very reduced group of the pro or the Cat 1-2 men. And I believe we're going to see the same thing out of the pro women and pro men coming up later today. So bear with me just for a few moments. I'll let you guys watch this. In fact, I think I'm going to turn on... Let's see. I'm going to turn the volume up just a tad like we had yesterday. All right. So it looks like they're coming into 3 to go here. So right now I'm just looking up the results from yesterday. I'm trying to find out where that DNA Pro Cycling... Oh, okay, I found her. So it looks like she finished 56th. Wow. Okay. Thanks everyone who's joined and has been with us for the last 3 days here. It's been an awesome time, and I really appreciate everyone who's came and supported the channel. Got my lemonade today. So it looks like we have the last lap. So this hill is like a very punchy hill. You can still hold speed up it fairly well, it looks like. And then obviously you have that downhill right hand turn. Looks like we have a Ride Bikes Bro guy there. I'm not sure who that is. But we have the race leader, looks like, coming through. So let's see who wins this sprint. It looks like the race leader is going to pull it off to finish in the lead. Legion again. So Legion is winning 1-2, the pro women and the men, pro men. So again, for anyone who's just joining, I'm just compiling all of the data from yesterday, and we're going to have a fun show starting in a few minutes here with the pro women. So bear with me for just a little bit while I get everything together. This day kind of ran away from me. Went for a ride, and then I'm like, oh, I have to be streaming in 45 minutes. All right, so while that is while we're waiting for the pro women's to start, here is the course for today. Seems like a simple course, just 4 corners, but we really have like 2 punchy hills in here. So, and then this is and the last turn 4 is a fast downhill right-hander into the sprint. And you could see on this Riverside Drive is where the start finish line is, right where that star is in the middle of that road. Shout out to Benjamin. What's up, dude? He says, just got back from a ride as well. Perfect timing. Yeah, I mean, just went out. It was a hot day here today. And actually, it's another hot day in Tulsa. Let's just double check the weather here. And it is 93 degrees. So we saw that was a factor yesterday with at least one rider not being able to finish the race due to looked like heat exhaustion. So we got a lot of data to look at, and we actually have some drama to talk about. There's definitely some drama going on in the pro men's race, and the women are just kind of nobody's really happy with all the crashes because yesterday was kind of a mess, that last lap. So we're going to go over all that in just a few minutes here. Shout out to King. I'm going to call you King. He says the schedule in Central Time. Yep. So these races are in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So they are in Central Time. So they're just doing call-ups right now. So let's see here. So while they're doing call-ups for the pro women, here are your results from yesterday. We had the two Legion riders go 1-2 again. We had the Lux rider in third. And actually, I'm going to make another screen here and show you the GC results because we did have a shake-up yesterday in the women's pro women race due to all the crashes. Shout out to Aaron. He says, just finished my ride and showered, ready for the pro races. Looking forward to the last races of the day. Got to see a few friends do well in the Cat 5 race earlier this morning. Awesome. Good to hear. Let's see. So just bear with me, guys. I'm going to start pulling everything up, and then once we get this set, we'll be good for the rest of the night. I obviously didn't do my homework. So I'm that kid right now that's doing the homework right before class starts. All right, so while they're getting pulled up, here are the GC standings. So we did have a DNA Pro Cycling rider who was in third overall, I believe, after the first day. Went into that last corner in the first spot, but never came out of that corner. So she moved down. That was DNA Pro Cycling. Let's see, Maggie Coles Leister. She moved down from, I believe, 2nd to 11th yesterday, as she didn't pick up any points, which is heartbreaking for their team. They had a rough last lap after riding a great race. So it's going to be interesting to see how they shake it up. Obviously, they're going to want to come out of here with a stage win today. So let's see if they can make it happen. So again, anyone who's just joining, here's our course map for today. I believe there's 2 hills on this course, so something to watch out for. Definitely going to break things up a little bit. It's more selective of a course. And then we have a fast right-hand downhill into the finish stretch down on Riverside Drive. And the start finishes right where that star is. So as they are about to roll off, let's switch back to full screen here while we get the racing started. I need to get myself a coaster for my lemonade. We're going to use a sticky note so I don't have to get up. But I also need to get all this condensation off my desk. All right. Shout out to Jed. He says watching from Savannah, Georgia. Day 3. Yep. Day 3 it is. On Crybaby Hill. So it's definitely going to be a exciting race today. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times up this hill, anyone can do. But it's when you start doing it 7, 8, 12, 14 times where it's going to start hurting. And that's when you're going to see the field breaking up, to say the least. I believe I'm calling it right now. There's going to be a breakaway that wins right here. And, we have going right into the fence. girl from Raleigh just cooked that way too hard. And I was just gonna say before this, that corner has been tricky for a couple people all day. And you saw in her back, she had what looked like a giant lump, and what that is just a ice, because it is hot out there today. And so what the riders do is they put ice cubes in a some pantyhose, and then once the ice melts, it slowly drips down your back and it's nice and cold. You'll see a lot of riders with that today. I saw a rider from Wolfpack right here in the front also has some ice. So, you're going to carry a little bit more weight up this hill, but hopefully by the end it's all melted and you're down a pound or so. But it'll definitely help keep your core temperature down a little bit, maybe get you a little extra power that is well needed. So let's see here. I actually have a bunch of, and I'm hearing just over race radio right now that they're talking about DNA Pro Cycling, and I actually have a couple screenshots that I'm going to share with you guys. And we have a lot of drama going on in the men's race. So good to see DNA Pro Cycling out there again after pretty much everyone on their team went down that last lap yesterday. It was a very, very crazy situation. So we have some moves going up this hill. This is definitely the selective point of the course. Let's see here. So the women are actually racing for 60 minutes today, which is a little bit longer than they have been the last couple days. So interesting. They did that here. So again, this corner right here has been very interesting. You see a lot of people taking it super wide. Even in that pro or the Cat 1-2 men in the last race, a couple guys going a little wide. So watch out for that towards the end of this race when they're flying into this sprint. So here's what DNA Pro Cycling had on their Instagram. They said, everyone is okay after the final lap incidents at Tulsa Tough Art District Criterium. Thank you very much to everyone that helped us at the race and to all of our friends in the cycling community that contacted us with concern. We truly appreciate our bike racing family. Special thanks to the wonderful care team at the Oklahoma State Medical Center. So they definitely had a rough race yesterday. It was kind of unfortunate how it ended up for them. They were doing really well in the GC and kind of fell apart in the last 30 seconds. Shout out to Diego. So again, we have Skylar Schneider leading the overall with a significant gap over the next. In second is her teammate Kendall Ryan. So Skylar has 58 points, Kendall has 55, and the Lux Rider has 44. So she pretty much has this locked up, barring any significant issues. She just gotta really look out for Lux. The next rider in fourth has 39 points, Rachel Langdon from InstaFund Racing. So as long as Skylar Schneider can pull out a couple points, she's pretty much got this locked up. So she just got to ride a safe race, stay towards the front, mark a couple people, but overall, she can kind of just sit back and conserve for most of this race. So again, you can kind of see the gaps opening up towards the back of the field. We have a couple riders attacking up this hill and getting us somewhat of a good gap. We'll see if this amounts to anything, if they let this get established. And it kind of looks like they are letting these four riders go, but let's see what happens on this downhill here, if they can hold this maybe 5 bike length gap. So you see there is splits opening up in this field. These last 10, 15, 20 riders right now are having to do a lot of work to try to close this gap up. And that's what happens sometimes when you are stuck in the back and a rider in front of you opens up a gap. It's almost impossible to close it. So that is something you have to always have your head up and watch out for, and make sure you have a good position so you don't get caught behind a split in the field. So again, we have women racing for 60 minutes today. The men are going to be racing for 75. So the women are about 10 minutes longer than yesterday. Men are 15 minutes less than, I believe maybe they're 5 minutes less than yesterday. So I think they're raced for 80 minutes. Let's see, it's a little dark in here. So I'm gonna turn this. So thanks again for everyone who's joining in for the third and final day of the Tulsa Tough Criterium series. It's been a fun time. Honestly, I was only planning on doing this on Friday night, but we had such a great showing. I decided to do it yesterday, and we had such a great showing yesterday, I decided to do it today. So, loving all the support in the comments. Appreciate each and every one of you for joining. So it looks like we have a solo rider off the front. Let's see if she can keep this gap or if anyone can bridge up to her. Looks like Wolfpack is on the front and trying to, seems like close this down. But they are definitely on the front with at least two riders. And look at how many people we've gotten dropped here. We had a split open up and the field kind of just blew apart towards the back. So you know this hill is definitely hard. It's hot out there. Everyone's tired from the prior 2 days of racing. So, and honestly, it may make the race a little bit safer if you have the strongest riders are there at the finish. Well, I say that, but yesterday was kind of similar. There was only strong riders there, and it was kind of a mess. So she is about to get pulled back here. She's looking back and kind of soft pedaling, so good effort. But again, it's very, very hard to solo to victory from 45 minutes by yourself. So you really, when you're on a break by yourself like that, you're kind of hoping someone's going to bridge up to you, and by the looks of it, it just didn't happen. So back to the field, and we reset for the next move to happen. And I believe here that Legion wants everything to stay together, but we'll see if they are able to do that or not. If they have a couple riders that are not anywhere near the top in the GC, that they'll probably be okay with letting that breakaway go. So it's really about getting the right makeup of that breakaway. And if Legion is comfortable with letting those riders go up the road, they are okay with them taking up the top points. So if, the top first through fourth points are taken out, it's less likelihood that anyone from behind, specifically this Lux rider, Michaela, will be able to catch up. Because really, the only way the Lux rider is going to win is if, she needs 14 points more to tie. So, Skylar Schneider will have to be like 14 positions behind, and she'd have to basically win. So it's very, very unlikely that this Lux rider will be able to pull this off, but my guess is she'll want to hold on to her third place, and Legion will go 1-2 in the GC as long as nothing crazy happens. Shout out to Nolan. He asked, did you ever find the footage of the DNA rider who overcooked the final turn from yesterday? I have not seen any footage of that. The most I saw was just her going to the corner, and it was kind of blocked by people, and she never came out. And based on her finishing results, she finished like 50 something. So She crashed in the fence, I think. But we did, for anyone who's just joining, we did have DNA Pro Cycling make a post on their Instagram that everyone is okay. They had a number of people crash in the last lap, and apparently everyone is still racing today. So luckily no severe injuries, no broken bikes or severely broken bikes, and yeah, so they're all good. So I don't know what's happening here. I mean, she might have a mechanical issue. Looks like she may have a. It didn't seem like she had a flat, but maybe she was having some issue with her shifting. So it looks like this wet spot is kicking up some mud in people's faces, because that rider in that white kit there had mud spots all on her jersey and her helmet. So nothing that's really going to be significant or have a significant impact on this race, because the time they get up this hill, their tires will be all dried out. So I wouldn't worry about that too much, and there's not any tight turns. So it looks like they're picking up the pace here. They're all strung out a little bit. Yep, that is great news. Nolan said it's great news that they are all okay. Yep, I agree. So it looks like this is some playback from yesterday. So yeah, there's one DNA rider down. This was last lap. And then we had 2 DNA riders down. And then we had Maggie run into the fence. So it had 3 riders down in the last lap of the race after riding a great race, to be honest. They were in the front the whole time. Protected their rider Maggie the whole race and kind of just fell apart. So for anyone who's just joining, we will switch over to the GC points. Again, we have Legion in both first and second. Lux in third, about 14 points behind the first place. So it's pretty much all locked up for Legion, barring any disaster for them. But again, it's bike racing, so anything can happen. So we'll see. But my guess is they are going to be A-okay for the GC competition. So again, women are racing for 60 minutes today. We're about a third of the way through this race. And it looks like there's a lot of people out today having a great time watching some bike racing. So we had Wolfpack right on the front. They have a rider in ninth in the GC, and they're actually tied for, well, actually, 8th, ninth, and 10th are all tied. So the first couple positions are all tied up, but after that, it's a very close competition, and we're gonna have to watch Lux and InstaFund. They're within 5 points of one another, so those are two teams that are gonna want to be ahead and finish well, so they can tie up that third place podium position. And obviously, the rest of these riders want to hold their position or possibly move up a couple in the top 10. I know for a fact Maggie Coles-Leister will want to move herself up into the top 10. She's currently sitting 11th. And after crashing out on the last lap, coming in hot for the final turn, she's definitely going to want to have a slight redemption and move herself at least back into the top 10 overall in the GC. So we definitely have riders hurting here. Like I said, once or twice up this hill is okay, but once you start doing it 5, 7, 10 times, it's going to start to hurt. And slowly but surely, this field is going to start withering away. And the legs are definitely going to soften up. And I believe this Red Bull sign is the KOM. So this is the crest of the hill. So I believe it's only one hill, but it goes, you have a turn in the middle. So it's like a stretch. Looks like we have Celine. I think this might be Celine going off the front here. She was someone who gave some input on how the race was after the first day. So she's out trying to make something happen for her team, get a breakaway established. And it looks like Legion is kind of sitting up and letting this go. So this might be an okay break to let happen if they can start working together. I know we have Legion here trying to bring this back. So yes, this is Celine Oberhauser. She's crushing it. And let's see her ride this up this hill. Nolan says, what percent of these women will be at Nats, do you think? Is this optimal training? Knoxville is also pretty hot. I'd say a majority of these women will be there. I mean, this is your top of the top riders from the country. So I'd say a number of these riders will be at Nats. And yeah, the heat training. So it's definitely interesting, you know, depending on where you're at in the country, you're going to have different training coming into this. You know, the further south you are, this 95 degrees is probably not too big of an issue, but if you're coming from Chicago, where I'm originally from, you know, this time of year, you've pretty much been riding in 50s to 70s with maybe a couple 80-degree days. You're not going to be used to 95 this early on. So Celine is from Texas. She's probably doing a-okay with the hot weather. It looks like she's still making pace on the front of the race here. And you can see, if you look fairly closely, you can see there's a lot of mud that's getting kicked up onto these riders. So it almost looks like they're in a cyclocross race from getting mud kicked up from the rider in front of them. So it looks like we have a move going up on the left-hand side. Another solo rider. Definitely riders hurting now. This is the time of the race where it starts to hurt a little bit. So let's see who this rider is, what team she's on. She looks like she has a very good gap. Made an excellent move up that climb to go off solo just about halfway through this race. So let's see if she can hold it off. It's still a long way to go by yourself. Ideally, she'd want at least one or two other people to make a move with her. And let's see if they can get something going up this next lap here. Up the hill. So what I'm going to watch for is if someone's going to make a move to try to bridge this gap. And that's a good shot. You can kind of see how big this climb is. So there's definitely a kick up, a right-hand turn, a kick up, and then it kind of flattens out, and then there's another kick up. So she's really crushing it. Time trialing really well right now. But hopefully she can keep this power up. It looks like she's slowing down a little bit at the top of this climb, but she's definitely got a good 10 seconds plus. Let's actually get an official time gap. Well, once she comes around for this start finish, I'll get a time gap for you guys. Maybe, but they're not showing me, of course. So let's see. Let's see if they are going to give me the field so I can get a time gap here or not. Okay, it looks like she has about 20 seconds or so. So a good sized gap. But let's see if she can keep up this pace. Looks like we have LA Sweat on the front here, and then people are sweeping up the road to try to dry it out a little bit. So I don't know what. It's a hot day out, so hopefully by the end of this race it'll be dry for the men's. But again, it doesn't seem like it's very significant impact, except for making everyone dirty. So she is time trialing very well. It's a pretty cool colored bike. So let me know in the chat what your favorite bike is from the riders that you've seen so far. So the chase definitely looked like it's on. They're not happy with the amount of space she has at the moment. And it looks like Wolfpack has one rider on the front. Legion has, just keeping her in sight. She definitely lost about between 3 and 5 seconds that last lap. So chase is definitely on. Just not giving her a ton of room. But I think they're okay with giving her some space. It's not crucial to blow a load to try to pull her back right at the moment. And we have another rider, looks like biting the dust off the back. Again, this course is difficult, especially after 2 days of hot racing. So for anyone who's just joining, here's the course map for today. And we have a little bit better idea of how everything is situated. So we have the start finish line on Riverside Drive, right where that star is, right in the middle of that road. And then as soon as they make that right hand turn, they're basically going all uphill until that turn 3. And once they make that turn 3, it's a quick downhill right-hander into the finish. And that last turn is a little tricky. It's wide, but there's been people that have gone off the road there. So something to watch out for towards the end of this race. And it looks like we're just about 10 laps to go. We have one rider off the front, keeping her close in contact, but she's been doing a great job. Butcher box racing. Got a dog with ski goggles on. Shout out to David. He says, what are the qualifications for a Cat 1 team to enter the P1 versus 1-2? So I believe the 1-2, anyone can join, and you can join it as a solo rider if you wanted to. So you don't necessarily have to have a team. Where I believe the pro, you need to have a team to do it. And I believe it's selective. So there's only, and I could be wrong on this. So anyone who knows, let me know. But I believe you have to have a team to be able to do the D1 Pro Cat 1 race. But again, anyone who has more details on that, please let us know in the chat. So it looks like she's lost about another 5 seconds or so. So this is going to come back here within another lap, I believe. Again, this is hard to do solo. Yep. So the 1-2, you're definitely able to. Whoever wants to join it, as long as you're a Cat 1 or a Cat 2, you can join the 1-2 race. If you're a pro, you have to do the pro race, I believe, which is just pro Cat 1. So if you're a Cat 2, you can't do the final race of the day. King says thought Dante Young was solo. Yeah, so you may not need a team. So potentially if you're a pro, you're able to join by yourself because you can't do the 1-2 because that's not set up for pro. I don't know exactly how. I was asking that same question. I don't know exactly how that works. I'll see if I can find out. But the 1-2, you're definitely, anyone can join that as long as you're a 1 or a 2. The pro race is up for discussion. I'm not sure. So it looks like we have the race leader on Legion kind of making a move here. So let's see, once we get to the front of this race, there's some interesting moves going on in the front. It looks like the race leader is going off the front with 9 laps to go. Skylar Schneider making a move by herself. This is very interesting tactics, putting the pressure on when she doesn't really have to, as she is 14 points ahead of the rider in 3rd place. But again, she may just be putting pressure on other teams to do some work because she has another teammate in 2nd place. So by her going off the front, her teammate doesn't have to do any work and kind of can just sit in. And every other team has to do work to pull her back. So interesting tactics. But it looks like she has a massive gap in a very, very short time. So she's definitely putting the pressure on, and these teams need to get organized at the front to make sure she doesn't ride away with the race. You know, these other teams who are not really competitive in the GC really would like to get a stage win out of this, as Legion has won both of these days. So even if they are not competitive in the GC, they still don't want her to just ride away and take the stage win either. Shout out to Dustin Armstrong. He says, you're correct. If it is a USA Crit calendar race, I believe Friday and today are still open to non-team invites. All the USA Crit series have invited teams only now. Okay. So Friday night, we had a USA Crit. So that was invite only. You had to have a USA Crit team, which I believe, if we pull it up, you have to be on one of these teams to ride on Friday night. So these are all D1 teams. They're licensed as D1. And I'll get back to the full screen because I know I'm going to get yelled at if I don't. So they are definitely flying right now. You can see they're all strung out, trying to just pull this back. And we have DNA Pro Cycling, looks like, on the front, as well as Automatic Racing. They don't want to just let her ride away. So yeah, I believe the Pro D1 race, which is coming up next, yesterday and today, I believe as long as you're a Pro or Cat 1, you can join, because it's not a USA Crit. Because I have, well, there's another wild card that's joining in today, and that's Colin Strickland. So he posts on his Instagram that he's heading to Tulsa, and he hasn't raced the prior 2 days. And I mean, he has a team, but I don't know if they're coming or not. So that seems about right to me, that for the D1 race, you had to be on a D1 team. So let's see what this chat's saying. Shout out to Khaled, back again. Welcome, dude. He says back again for more fun. I'm ready for the final laps and the men's race. Hopefully it's a bit safer today. Agreed. We'll see how this last 7 laps of the women's race goes. Shout out to Dark Shark. He says that's not quite true. Carrie Werner was riding for Project Echelon on Friday night, and they are no D1 team. I don't know how that works. I know for the 1-2 race, as long as you're a Cat 1 or a Cat 2, you can do it. For the Pro race after, I don't know if anyone can just sign up or how that works. Maybe there are certain teams that are invited and their spot is locked in. So if they're a D1 team, maybe your spot's locked in. And then there's only a certain amount of spots available for individual riders. That kind of makes sense to me. Shout out to David. He says, wasn't Dante in these races a non-D1? Yeah, again, if you're on a D1 team, you probably have your spot locked in. And if say they max out at 150 riders, you may have 10 or 15 D1 teams. So maybe that takes up 100 spots. And then maybe you have 50 available for individual riders that want to join that aren't on a team. That might be how it's set up. So it looks like Skylar Schneider is still off the front. Once we can get a position on her, I'll try to put up a time gap. But she's been off the front for the last 3 laps here, and is making a move, putting pressure on other teams to do some work these last 10 laps of the race. Welcome everyone who's joining in for the 3rd and final day of the Tulsa Tough race. Oh, and it looks like they have made the chase. They've caught her. And she was able to put pressure on other teams for a while and make them do some chasing. So maybe that was a setup for her teammate. So let's watch for the counterattack right now and see what happens. See if her teammate goes for the counterattack move to continue the pressure on these other teams. But this field has definitely broken apart significantly. This hill is definitely tearing up the field. Very selective course today, unlike the prior 2 days. And it still looks like there's a lot of riders there, but, you know, it's probably about half the size as they started with. Maybe even less than that. So as we come into 6 laps to go, maybe there's 5 laps to go. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Welcome, Hannah. Thanks for the text. So this field has definitely thinned out. You can just see that there's not too many riders left. So hopefully that means a safe finish coming in here in a couple laps. And it looks like we have a CWA Trek rider trying to make a move off the front. That's what's going to be what you have to watch out for these last couple laps. Riders are going to want to not let this come down to a field sprint again against Skylar Schneider, because so far her and her other Allegiant teammate, Kendall Ryan, have both been the team to beat the last 2 days here in Tulsa. And again, for those of you just joining, let's go over the GC for just a few moments before we finish up the race here. We have Skylar Schneider and Kendall Ryan both in the 1-2 position with 58 and 55 points respectively. We have a Lux rider 14 points behind the leader. And the rest of the top 10 are all fairly close. So the top 10 could be shaken up tonight. And we will see how those first 2 positions finish up. So we have 4 laps to go. We have a CWA Trek, it looks like, with a Lux rider. So let's see if they can make something happen here. Oh, and watch this counterattack here. So that was kind of a slingshot move. That field slowed down very quickly, and we had a rider coming around the corner quick. So let's see if anything got established. And it looks like that was shut down very quickly. But again, every lap we lose like 1 or 2 additional riders. This hill really takes a toll, especially when it's 95 degrees outside. Shout out to Gabe. He says the other half of the field has pulled over for a beer on Crybaby Hill. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. After 3 days of hard racing. Shout out to Trees93. He said, when is the men's race? So the men's race starts at 4:35 Central Time. 5:35 Eastern. So just right after this race, coming in on 3 laps to go, we'll start the men's race, and they'll do some call-ups, and it will start very shortly after this race ends. So it looks like everyone's kind of looking around, seeing who's going to make the next effort. Looks like Lux is starting to put on the pressure a little bit. They have 3 riders up here right now. We have a rally cycling rider, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's Holly Breck, who's sitting 5th overall right now, making a move with her felt bicycle. Let's see. Doesn't look like she's was able to get a gap. Obviously, they're marking her since she's sitting 5th overall with 34 points. Just about 5 points behind 4th place of Rachel Langdon. And she's 10 points behind 3rd place. So Legion looks like so far they have this in the bag. They're sitting right there in the top 7 positions or so, kind of just watching over everyone, marking who's the rider to watch. Again, as long as she finishes somewhere in the top 5 or so, she has this Omnium locked up. And as we come down this hill into the turn 4, we're coming into 2 laps to go here. And again, this is the turn to watch coming in here in a couple laps because it's a fast downhill right-hander, and there's been a couple mishaps where people have gone into the fence, into the curb. It's very tight. So when they're flying down here into this last sprint, it might get a little hairy. Definitely need to watch that last corner. We got Wolfpack sitting 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Setting up their teammate, Summer, who's sitting in or tied for 8th with 28 points. So she would definitely like to move up either to 7th or even 6th. She's in grabbing distance of. 6th place has 32 points. Welcome everyone who's joining for the last day of Tulsa Tough. We have 95 viewers. So welcome. We are going to be starting the men pro race in just a few moments here. So clean turn coming into this. Last lap to go, I believe. Okay, so I believe there's 2 laps to go now. I don't know. They kind of change it at a weird point. I don't know if it's... This might be the last lap. I didn't hear a bell, but we will see. We have Rally leading the field, and we have a couple Lux riders. We have Wolfpack hammering it up. DNA Pro Cycling also following Rally on the right-hand side of the road. We have a Wolfpack rider dropping back. Job finished for the day. Setting pace for her teammates. Colin's asking if the rest of the field got dropped. Yep, a lot of the riders got dropped. Again, this hill is hard after you do it for an hour straight. So the field is probably down to about 25% of where they started at. And I believe this is the last lap. Let's see if Maggie... Oh, taking it hot again. Oh, okay, she made it around, but we have Legion... Skylar Schneider making it around. Maggie's able to, looks like, pull off second. So she's going to move up in the GC. Wow. Crazy finish, but a clean last lap. Clean race, actually. I don't believe there was any... There's one little crash early on. Maggie Cole-Leister got a redemption after yesterday, finishing second. So she's going to move up overall in the GC. She was sitting 11th with 27 points before this. So she's going to move up probably to 7th position, my guess is. 6th or 7th. Because that's a solid finish. Depends where everyone else finished at, but overall, congrats to Legion again for taking the win every stage and also the overall victory for Skylar Schneider. So we got the Pro Men race starting up in just a few minutes here. Thanks everyone for joining for this final day. Here's the course map again. And we have the start finish line on Riverside Drive, right where that star is in the middle of the road. And really that whole through turn 1, 2, and up to turn 3 is all pretty much uphill. And then we have a fast downhill section into a right-hand bend back to Riverside Drive. So again, the last turn, turn 4, has been the trickiest for the riders today so far. There's been a couple people taking it way too hot and not able to make it completely around that corner. So that is going to be something to watch out for in the men's race coming up in just about 5 minutes here or so. So bear with me for just a second. I'm going to start pulling up the men's results. So here we are, the men's results from yesterday. Legion going 1 through 4. With it looks like an unattached Clever Martinez in 5th and Thomas Gibbons in 6th. And then we have Gateway, Best Buddies, Gateway, and Cliff Bar rounding out the top 10. Tree says, wow, so is Legion officially the best team in U.S. cycling, men and women? As far as like the pro Nat Crit team, yes. I think they've been the best for the last couple years here. They are definitely the team to beat. And here is your GC. We have Legion in rounding out the whole podium with the Williams brothers. And we have Daniel Estaves in 4th, which I guarantee he's going to want to try to move up to 3rd overall. But in general, the rest of these guys are nowhere near the winning point amount. So it's going to be very difficult to take back that first place position from Corey Williams. So really, he just has to ride safe this whole day. If they can ride safe and nothing extraordinary happens, they pretty much have this locked up. But again, they're going to want to win because there's been a lot of drama that's been going on. And we saw it yesterday a little bit in the men's race. There was some, looked like punches being thrown from Corey Williams early on. And I'm going to pull up the post Justin Williams made on Instagram. We're going to talk about that a little bit because let's see. So here we have Justin Williams' post on Instagram. And this is definitely a shot at some of these other teams. So here's what he says. He says, 1, 2, 3, 4 today after riding the front for 80 minutes. Some of the men in the peloton complained about us asking Tulsa Tough to make the men's and women's race equal distances. They tried to oblige and we are grateful. It will be done for next year. Today was a head scratcher for me. Teams rode with such disrespect, chopping our guys in corners, trying to ride through our train, and being aggressive for no reason. I want good racing, but this was not okay and won't be tolerated. Let's have good sportsmanship and let the best man win. And then he tags Butcher Box, Elevate, Best Buddies, Automatic, and CS Velo. With respect, I'm asking you guys to be better. I love racing with you guys and expect more. Wow. So definitely shots fired at some of these other guys, and we definitely saw some drama early on. And there was actually some footage of someone calling someone a C word early on in the race, and we definitely saw that on camera. And it sounded like Corey saying it to one of the riders, Eric Young, who's on Elevate. So my guess, here's my speculation of what was happening. They were taking the inside lane. Someone bumped Corey, and Corey called someone a name. They were like, I didn't bump into you. You could hear it in the video. I didn't bump into you. And next thing we know, there's some hands being thrown off the bars at someone else. So definitely some high tensions. It's hot out there. They're racing hard. People are frustrated at Legion for controlling the whole race and them not being able to do much. And obviously Justin Williams sees it as people being disrespectful to his team, but really that's bike racing. You're going to get cut off in corners sometimes. You know, I understand you want to be you know, the respected team, but that's crit racing. You got to be used to having people cut you off in the corner occasionally, in my opinion. So let's switch back here to the GC results as they pull up. As they pull up the call-ups. So as they're doing call-ups, we have another wild card that's going to be in this race. And here we have Colin Strickland. He says, Tulsa tough, here I come. So he's going to be another rider to watch out for today and probably going to have some fresh legs. So definitely going to be a marked man. Obviously, he doesn't have any GC points, so he's just going to be going for the stage win. But strong dude in Colin Strickland that's going to be a person to watch out for the stage win. Shout out to Bubba the Cat. He says, I am from Tulsa. What makes the last turn at the bottom of the hill hard is the camber. It isn't flat. Yep, that kind of makes sense. So it's kind of tilted towards the inside. So you're kind of going over a little bump in that last corner. And coming down that fast turn, yeah, it's going to be tricky. Dustin Armstrong, shout out to you, dude. He says, what do you all think of Justin's move last night? Was he really cracking or intentional to create the gap and give Corey the for sure win? I say intentional, as he slid right back in. That was definitely intentional, 100%. He ended up finishing fourth. Like, it wasn't him cracking. It was him throwing a curveball at the other teams and making them have to lead out their rider for the last bit. So by him doing that, he gave his teammates a 2 bike length gap, and he did it right at the crest of that hill. And by doing that and them going around the corner, his teammates had enough speed to hold through, and everyone else had to slow down until they went through. And then once they went down that downhill, I'm sure they were spinning out their gears going 40 miles an hour probably. And so there's not really much you can do. If you're going in your biggest gear, you can't really close down that gap very easily. And then Justin just got a free ride on that train. And if they got pulled back, well, now he's fresh sitting behind their lead out that's now burned out. So smart move by Justin. He says, I'm sure Justin knows that that's crit racing. Yeah, but why is he making drama on Instagram? So again, here's our results from yesterday as we're talking about it. And you can see Best Buddies was only able to pull out an 8th place finish. They were right behind that Legion train on that last lap, and they were the ones that had to pull everything back. So people were able to jump around them. So Thomas and the Gateway Devo cycling team were able to jump around. I'm not sure if Clever Martinez has a team or if he's really just a unattached rider, but that'll be another interesting person to watch. So again, before we start here, welcome everyone. Here's the course map one more time. Turn 1 has some water in it that you have to watch out for, but it's also an uphill turn, so not super tricky. And, you know, between turn 1 through turn 2 and up to turn 3 is pretty much all uphill. And the rest is downhill and a straightaway. So simple course, but also this race is going to blow up for sure. You're going to see, watch how many people start this and watch how small the group is at the end. It's going to be a very selective course. And watch for the breakaway because they're definitely going to be shooting for it today. So here we go. We're off for 75 minutes of racing. And looks like someone's having an issue clipping in or something. And we have Best Buddies leading it out right here at the start with a Legion rider right on their tail. Justin Boldy is actually not racing today. He has to go home and play dad, so unfortunate that we're not going to be able to watch him race today, but he did great the last couple days, so shout out to him. So you're going to notice some of the riders have a bulge in their back. And what that is just ice. So it's hot out there. Feels like 100 plus. So what they do is they put ice in pantyhose and put that in their jersey, and it's going to slowly melt throughout the race, lowering your core temperature. So you can hopefully push out a couple extra watts. You don't overheat as much. And they actually flew up that climb a minute and a half to get to that KOM. And again, watch this first corner. It's very tricky. You have a lot of people going wide. Oh, man. And everyone looks like it went around safe. But yeah, you really have to watch that corner. Because it is tight. And as someone said, it's kind of off camber a little bit. So looks like we have the first move of the day. Someone trying to jump up this climb and get something started. And let's see if we can figure out who that is. We have another rider bridging this gap really quickly up to this. And let's see if we can get this established. And it looks like that second rider kind of just flew right around. Let's see. So we have people spraying water, keeping everyone cool. And a clean turnaround, turn 4 for a solo rider around. And it looks like that first rider who was on a move is about to get swallowed back up in just a moment. Not quite sure who that is. Shout out to OFK. Says Justin looks like he gained weight. I'm not sure if he has ice. He might have ice in his back, which I was saying earlier. So this rider is definitely putting in the hammer down, and they still haven't caught this other guy. Well, we're still having guys starting to try to get back up to that leader. So let's see if they can get something established here. Obviously, Legion is marking every top guy. So if there's someone who's nowhere near them in the GC where it's impossible for them to catch. All right, so here's the drama that I was talking about yesterday. People bumping into each other. And then we had that, couple bad crashes. People wiping out. And Justin Boldy almost got caught up in that. He had a video of him not just barely being able to escape that crash. And then, yeah, obviously we had this mess at the end of Best Buddies having to pull this back, and Justin Williams getting a free ride on the Best Buddies train while his teammates are soloing to victory. And then Justin Williams jumps around and takes 4th. And see him at the end, he's like, what? He couldn't even believe that he ended up getting 4th. So good tactics by him. I'll say that. And by him letting his teammates win, he took out a bunch of the top scoring positions. So, if he just was on the train and his 2 lead out guys are gone, well, maybe he gets first, Corey gets second, and another guy, Daniel Estavas, maybe gets 3rd. And now he's still in the position of 3rd place overall and still kind of in the running for the podium, at least, if not 2nd place. So by him doing that, he took out a lot of those points for his teammates, and it paid off. Now they have the whole podium basically locked up. Going around that turn hot that time. So he's laying down the bike. And I believe everything's back together again. So Legion is just controlling this pace again. And we have Justin Williams now we have Corey in the leader's jersey. So the rainbowish, so it's a yellow. One of his shoulders, his right shoulder is a yellow, or his right sleeve is yellow. His left sleeve is blue. And he has the camera on his helmet. That is Corey Williams, the race leader. And it looks like we still have this breakaway out front. Or no, these guys are jumping. So they're trying to get something established now. And it looks like those guys that were off the front earlier all pulled back. But watch this field. So we're only 8 minutes into this race, but guarantee within the next 10 to 15 minutes, this field is going to start withering away. And we have the drone operator a little drunk. Joe's Guitar Shop. What's up, man? He says, how can Legion be beat? It's a good question. Today is a little bit more of a selective course. So, if their guys are good at climbing, I'm hoping a breakaway can get established today, because it's not just a flat 4-corner crit where Legion can just ride a tempo the whole time. The hill definitely adds more dynamic to the race. So they're still going to try to do that, but there may be guys who are way better at climbing and descending that can ride this course a little bit faster, but they are still hammering it right now. You can see that they are all strung out, and there's gaps opening up so far about halfway through that field. So that is going to be something to watch on this next time up here, because if they don't close that quick, that's going to be tough to shut down on this uphill section. So it looks like we have a Texas Roadhouse, an Elevate, and another guy. And potentially Colin Strickland jumping there, trying to bridge up to that gap. So Aaron J says they have a video on their channel where they tell you how they can be beat. Okay, that's going to be something worth watching. As you just said, I'll have to check that out. Trees says Legion got beat in DC last weekend. Yeah, I mean they don't win every single time, but we're talking they win at least over 50% of the races they do, which for cycling is insane statistics. Thanks again for everyone who's joining for this last day of Tulsa Tough. The men are out for a 75-minute cruise around town today. So there's definitely people trying for a breakaway today. And it looks like it's more aggressive breakaway. What am I trying to say here? Yesterday there was a lot of single riders trying to break away, and they just get pulled back right away. But today I'm seeing a lot of 3- and 4-man moves. So there's definitely teams that want to and think that a breakaway will be successful. So it's just going to take some time to get everything established, because we're only 13 minutes into this race. So it's going to take some time for riders' legs to soften up and a move to get going. Shout out to Jolin. He says Legion is taking the front and going 4 or 5 wide up the hill. I'll look out for that this next time up here. Shout out to EZ Julio. Says, why don't they show speeds? Well, this is kind of a lower class pro race, so you don't really have any GPS tracking chip on the riders' bikes. So you can't really track speed in real time, but I can tell you from a rider who was in the race yesterday, he said the average speed was 29 miles per hour. So you can take that into consideration. And there was a hill in that race, a little hill, but a hill nonetheless. So definitely sections where it's 35 plus miles per hour. I will say today is probably very similar. Probably have down this straightaway, they're probably going about 30 to 33 miles per hour. That downhill section, probably going about 35. And then they slow down really quick to maybe 28. And then they'll speed back up down this straightaway. And they are flying right now. You can see how long this field is. So they're definitely going fast, probably 33 plus down this straightaway section right here. So let's watch Legion and see if they're fanning out on this hill and kind of going 4 or 5 wide. It does look like they are kind of echeloning across the road. But there's still plenty of room to jump around them if you have to. But they definitely take out some of the road. And the reason they're probably doing that is just so they can have more time to react, maybe. If someone guy goes on the left, well, they can have this guy on the left jump on his wheel. If this guy's on the right, they can have that right guy. They usually just let the attack go and slowly pull it back. See, right now they're back in the line. So it might just be they're trying to hold their momentum up the hill a little bit at that part. Shout out to Ted King. What's up, man? He says, can we get some props on Sam Boardman's mustache? Yeah, definite props. Shout out to Sam Boardman's mustache, for sure. So it looks like everything's back together again. And you can see there, these riders are definitely starting to hurt. Towards the back of this field, they are slowly popping off. You can see there's some stragglers that are still trying to make this happen, but after 20 minutes of this this climb. They've probably gone up this hill about 15 times so far, and they have a long way to go. We have just under an hour left of racing, so and so far Legion's been able to control this whole race. You know, there's been a couple moves, but it's pretty much all come back together within a lap or two. So for those of you who are just joining, here is we got some wheelies going on. I guess if you're dropped, you just gotta have fun at that point. So here's Justin Williams' post for yesterday, calling out teams for being aggressive for no reason. So we definitely had some drama going on early on in the race. That's okay. Good. We got the stream back. Okay, sweet. So we definitely had some drama early on. Justin Williams not too happy about some inside corner moves from other teams. And we definitely had some name calling going on, as we saw in Corey's video. So we'll see what happens today. I haven't seen really any moves from Best Buddies, but here we have Travis McCabe kind of moving up on the outside. So let's see if he's ready to make something happen. Shout out to Chase. Welcome back. He says, I rode a measly 130 miles this weekend with minimal pain, but I'm suffering profusely while watching this. Yeah, this is a hard course. I've actually never done this course, but just by looking at it, yeah, it's going to be tough. It looks like Best Buddies is all together right behind the Legion train. So my guess is they're kind of just letting this race get established a little bit. And I think they're saving a lot of their energy for the last 20 minutes of this race. And I think a lot of the big teams may be doing the same. Kind of letting the slower riders get dropped off the back and hoping Legion uses some of their energy to pull back some of the early moves from other teams. And then I think they're just going to have straight punching for the last 20 minutes of this race. And it's going to be fireworks going like crazy. So looks like we had a crash in turn 4, it looks like. Like I was saying, that corner has been tricky for riders all day. And if you just cook it a little bit too hot, you're really going to go into the curb almost. Oh, it looks like he even slid out. Is what 2 riders slid out. And then a third kind of just grabbed a bunch of front brake. So someone earlier was saying that this corner is a little off camber, so he may have just hopped his front wheel a little bit on that lip and just lost his front wheel and slid out. But it looks like we are having a move get established. We have Butcher Box in here. So here is the GC results so far. Best Buddies is definitely going to want to try to take back that podium position that they lost yesterday. They're 7 points behind. So my guess is they're going to try to take back that third Omnium position, and they're also going to want to get a stage win out of it today because so far Legion has been the only team that's winning basically everything for pro men, pro women. So it looks like everything is back together again. Joe's Guitar Shop is saying Zwift team. So the team with Zwift on the back is Legion. Zwift is one of their sponsors. I'm not sure if that's who you are referring to. Dustin says, do you see Justin in the front with Legion anymore? I haven't been looking for him, but let's see if I can pick him out. Shout out to Cruz. He says, what is the temperature? Last time I checked, it was around 94 degrees. So a hot one. And like I was saying earlier, a lot of the riders, you'll see they have like a bulge in the back of their jersey, and that's just a bunch of ice. So hopefully keep their core temperature down. I saw riders early on, but even now, it looks like most of it has melted. So, it's definitely a hot day out there. Oh, he's saying I should start a Zwift team. Shout out to Mr. Dogson. He said, is Colin Strickland racing? Yeah, so I had... Let's see if I can pull it back up quick. We had a post from Colin Strickland saying, Tulsa Tough, here I come. And that was this morning. So, wild card to look out for. I haven't seen him. I think he may have been in one or two moves so far. But definitely a wild card to watch out for with fresh legs today. A Zwift team for your YouTube channel. Yeah, I could do that. The problem is I don't really ride Zwift that much. I'm in Florida, so we have beautiful weather all year, and I prefer riding outside. But maybe at some point I'll put one together. Jalen Price says Colin is about 10 back. Okay, let's see if we can find him. Obviously, 10 back changes by the second. But we have another 3 riders making a move off the front. As we're just about approaching 30 minutes into this race. So, you know, their legs are starting to soften up a little bit. Legion is still strong on the front, still just riding tempo. And, you know, not reacting overtly to any attack. They just slowly ramp up the pace to pull everything back under control, not letting anything get too far away from them where it's unmanageable. Looks like we have another clean round around the corner. A couple riders going real wide. So yeah, we want to look for the other Red Bull helmet. I'm in Fort Myers, Florida. So we have a lot of different riders going forward and backwards here. We have 2 that are, and a third that's jumping up. And it looks like 2 more that are trying to get into this move. And let's see how far back the peloton is. Yeah, so they have maybe about 10 seconds. And the stream is jumping a little bit, so hopefully we are able to get through this without any technical difficulties. Oh, taking that real hot. Laying down the bike. So looks like we have a Gateway Devo cycling team. We have a Project Echelon And not certain on that, the guy who's leading at the moment. But again, Legion's still looking strong, and we really haven't. Nobody's put significant pressure on them at the moment. They've looked very comfortable. So again, still strung out. They're definitely flying. And you'll notice anytime there's a significant move off the front with a decent gap, they just start flying down this last stretch. Cruz says, must be tough riding in 4 miles, that many retired people driving. Yeah, if you ride early enough, they're all still sleeping. So it's not too bad. I haven't had any major issues, but yeah, the roads can be busy. Shout out to TSI 92. So it looks like we have a best buddies rider. That might be Michael Hernandez putting the pressure on. And this is, we've seen Legion mark everything. And then we also have, looks like Travis McCabe jumping off the front. And Legion is definitely going to respond to him because they don't want him to just run away with the race. Okay, so Travis is slotted back in. But this Best Buddies rider has been able to make it up to these 3 leaders. And we're having a little bit of buffering issues with the stream, but we're back now. Looks like we have another rider on the left-hand side of the road trying to make it up to this move that they've now recognized as somewhat threatening and a good move to be in now that they've gotten 5 riders. And it looks like Travis McCabe has made it up to this. So this is a move, and we have a rider that's basically pulling Legion around. So I don't know if he's just trying to mess up their train a little bit, but this is actually a very threatening move. So let's see if they can make something happen here. They really have to just put the pressure on very hard for these next couple minutes here. It looks like they don't have that much space, but look how strung out it is. So they are flying, and this field has thinned out significantly since the start. So they really only have about 3 seconds right now. And we have a Best Buddies rider that looks like he's going backwards at this moment. And I think they kind of see the writing on the wall, but Travis is still hammering it on the front. But maybe he's sitting up now. Yep, it looks like he's sitting up. Gonna save the energy, but we still have this one rider who's been out here the whole time. Still trying to push this move, and it looks like they're letting him go a little bit. Best Buddies is the team in the neon green. So if anyone knows this rider's name in the white jersey, let me know. He was definitely in a couple moves yesterday. Solo moves as well, so he likes riding solo, but this field is still strung out, so they're still putting the pressure on. So again, shout out to Sam Boardman's mustache. Very so it looks like Justin Williams was a little bit further back. You can see him there right in the middle of the screen. Definitely not in his usual position, just right above those two Cliff Bar riders. So maybe he's hurting a little bit. So that'll be something we have to watch out for him, because he's definitely slotting a little bit further back than what would be expected. But we still have Corey, the race leader, right behind his train in fifth wheel, it looks like. As we just cross over 40 minutes into this race. So again, they're racing for 75 minutes today. Oh, taking that turn real tight to that curb. Just trying to hold as much speed as possible through this downhill section. And I'm not sure if that's Thomas Gibbons that's just tail gunning it. But he is also in the running for... Let's see. He is sitting 5th overall in the GC, so he definitely needs to be up towards the front by the end of this to keep his position, because he only has 3 points on the next guy behind him. A couple moves on the right-hand side of the road as this other rider is just getting pulled back. So had a couple dropped riders making it through, as the leaders are just making it over the crest of the hill. for I don't know how many times, but a lot. They've done this a lot. A lot of laps. So really we need to watch out for Justin Williams because he was further back than his normal position. So let's see if he has made it back up or if he's still sitting further back in the field. But again, Corey is the race leader with 58 points. And let's just hop over to the GC really quick so we can check it out. We have Corey in the first position with 58 points. He has a significant lead over Daniel Estaves from Best Buddies. And, you know, second and third are his teammates, Justin and Tyler. So I'm just hearing over the race radio that is Thomas Gibbons tail gunning it right now. So that is something to watch out for because he is sitting in 5th overall with 38 points. And now he may just be trying to conserve as much as possible, but that is also a risky position if a gap opens up. Or he could be hurting. So sometimes you sit on the back to tail gun just so you don't fight for position, and then you just, if you don't have any intention of making it into a breakaway or, you know, having to control the breakaway, then sometimes you'll tail gun just to stop fighting for position, and then you'll move up towards the end of the race. So we'll see what he does. We'll watch out for him. And we also need to watch out for Justin Williams, who is definitely not at the front of this race. I have not seen him. So let's see. Let's see if we can pick him out. So again, we have Sam Boardman leading this field up here. And let's see if we can... I did not see him. So we'll have to look again. See if I can pick out Justin Williams, who's still sitting second overall with 53 points. We have a Texas Roadhouse with a neon yellow bike. We have a rider taking a water bottle. And it looks like Justin Williams is tail gunning on the back right next to Thomas Gibbons. So I believe that's what I saw, but we can double check that. Shout out to Lloyd. He said he's behind Best Buddy Cycling, guys. Well, let's look. I didn't think so. We had Travis McCabe in the Stars and Stripes. And right there with the red shoes looked like is... Let's see. Justin Williams is right on the back. I've seen him a couple times now. He doesn't have red shoes. It looks like white shoes, but he is definitely towards the back of this field. You can see him right there on the left-hand side, right in front of that green neon Best Buddies jersey. He is definitely further back than normal. So let me know in the chat if that's his strategy or if he's hurting a little bit from all this climbing and heat. So looks like we have an amino rip rider, local team out of Miami, Florida, on the front. So we just crossed over 50 minutes in this race. We have 25 minutes to go. So still a good bit left in this race, but we're nearing towards the finish of this 3-day series in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But you can see Justin Williams clearly in his Red Bull helmet right now. You can see him. He's about 3 riders from the back. And he still looks like he's turning the pedals over pretty well. So maybe he's just playing some mind tricks. Could be. Could just be playing some mind tricks. It looks like we have some buffering in the feed, but we're back. Here we go. But this field has definitely thinned out. And, you know, at this point, anyone who's made it 50 minutes into this is probably going to make it the whole way. Here we go. This is Colin Strickland making his move around that corner real quick. So he's definitely a rider to watch, and he has fresh legs from the last couple days not doing this series. So I've raced against this guy a couple times at Tour of America's Dairyland, where he just unreal strength out of this guy. That was probably 3 or 4 years ago at this point. But the guy is a beast nonetheless. And he can ride his bike for a long time. He doesn't get tired. He does super long gravel races, 200 plus miles. I'm pretty sure he just did Dirty Kansas or whatever they called it this year. And I think he finished top 10 at least. He won it, I believe, 2 years ago. So watch out for this move here. It seems like he was biding his time all race, and now looks like a good moment to make this move with just over 20 minutes left to go. Yeah, Lloyd saying Unbound. Yep. And he finished 5th overall. Awesome. All right, so what's going on with our stream? It's cutting out here. Let's see if I can... All right, here we go. We're back. Definitely some issues with the stream. Okay. So hopefully, cross our fingers it doesn't cut out like it did on the first night, but here we go. So we got Colin Strickland off the front with another 3 riders, and it looks like Legion is definitely responding to this. The field is stringing out, and we had a the fourth rider in this move is waving Strickland through. But they are definitely reacting to this move. They do not want this group to get too much space. And yet this fourth rider has just been dropped. That was too hard of a pace for him. He's not able to hold that. As we saw, he waved Strickland through. He's like, yeah, I can't pull. We still have Thomas Gibbons on the back. And we have 3 riders off the front with maybe a 6 or 7 second gap at the moment. So let's see. I'm going to start a timer. It may be even less. It may be around 5 seconds or so. Bill says Colin Strickland could totally win the last 2 days' races. Might be the strongest individual rider in the field. Lloyd says, I see Colin win this. If he can do 300 watts for 10 hours, 20 minutes is easy. Wow. Yeah, but again, it's him versus 6. So if he can hold his 500 watts for 20 minutes, well, those other guys can do 500 for 30 seconds and continue switching, you know? So, but this has definitely been the strongest move of the day so far. It seems like they have been able to hold this for a couple laps, but again, Legion is not giving them much space. They have about a 6 or 7 second gap, so they definitely gained some time over that last straightaway section. So as long as this move doesn't have anyone who's very threatening in the GC, which I don't know who this Devo cycling rider is. There is a guy, Hugo, on Gateway, who's 7th overall with 34 points. So they may not want to let this move get too far ahead with him in the field. Again, he's not in a threatening position for Legion because Tyler Williams still has 49 points. So and from the race radio, it does sound like it is Hugo in this breakaway. So we have Hugo Scala Jr. I believe that's his last name. I probably butchered that. And we have Colin Strickland. I'm not sure who that third rider is, but this is definitely a strong move of three of these guys. And it looks like we're just crossing over 10 laps to go. And I'm still looking for Justin Williams. I didn't see him in the back there, but let's see if he moved up at all. Yep, he definitely moved up. So he's right behind Best Buddies on the left-hand side. So was he just playing mind games? I don't know, but He is right there. It looks like Thomas Gibbons moved up as well. And we have a Best Buddies rider that is bridging up to this, and Legion is all over that. They do not want Best Buddies. They do not want to have Best Buddies have the option of being able to bridge up to a teammate or having a teammate be able to bridge or fall back from a break and help out their team leader of Daniel Estaves, who's currently in 4th overall. So that's really Legion's biggest competitor at the moment. He has 42 points, sitting in 4th place. Jay Landry says Colin retrained his body for endurance races. He said he doesn't have the punchy power he used to. I believe that. If you're training for 200 plus mile races, you're going to lose some of that pop. And we have a major split in the field right here with a bunch of riders getting caught out behind that. Yep, so this breakaway is just about finished. But this Gateway rider does not seem like he wants to call it quits yet. As we're just about 9 laps to go. Thomas Gibbons is still towards the back of this field. He was able to make it through that split, so he's still on the main pack itself. And Colin Strickland doesn't look like he wants to call this breakaway over either, as he's still on the front. Okay, now he slotted back in. So let's see if we can make it through. I think these two are going to get pulled back in the next lap or two here. They are flying right now.
I'm not sure I understand.
And my watch is talking to me. So let's see if Best Buddies makes a move here in the next couple laps. I don't think they're just going to want this to come down to a straight sprint, as Legion has pretty much proven that they are the best sprinting team here. But they also want to make sure they have enough guys for the end, because they don't want to get caught out like they did yesterday with only one lead out guy. But you have Thomas Gibbons right there, number 25. He's still tail gunning it. And luckily he was able to make it through and not get caught out in that split in the field. We're coming into 7 laps to go. We have a Mike's Bikes rider getting some camera time. So they're still keeping the pace up. Again, average speeds are probably right around 29, 28, 29 with the climb. This straightaway section, they're probably going 32, 33 is my guess. They're probably at the whole race probably averaged about 27 and a half is my guess. Because there is this climb where they're going probably 23 miles an hour up here. Maybe 24. Yesterday's race, they averaged about 29 miles an hour. So this guy is kind of bouncing around a lot. He doesn't really have a great form. But just remember how I told you to just look at how many starters there were and how many are finishing. These guys are the best of the best right now. If they can make it through this and are in this select group, these are the top riders in this race. You know, probably over half of this race has gotten popped off the back. And they haven't been going slow. I mean, more times than not, they are strung out on this straightaway. Just sitting behind Legion. We have a slight gap opening up in the middle of that field. And this Audi rider has maybe a 10-second gap. And I think this is going to get pulled back probably with... They'll probably be out there for another 4, maybe 2 to 3 laps. I'm going to say he'll get pulled back with 4 to go. Maybe sooner. He has about a 7-second gap. So welcome everyone who's joining. We have 168 viewers. So welcome everyone who's been hanging out the last couple days. It's been a fun weekend streaming these races and watching some bike racing. So everyone just being very smooth around this last corner. Smooth is fast, as they say. So just trying to keep the speed up as much as you can and holding that wheel in front of you. And it looks like this guy is just about to be swallowed up, and we'll have a complete Peloton group still here. And we still have Corey and Justin Williams right there, right where they're supposed to be, right behind their train. We have Travis McCabe right behind him. And we have a Best Buddies rider making a move on the outside, flying up this hill. And it looks like he's just sitting up right now. I don't know what was the purpose of doing that and sitting up, but um, at this point, if you're going to go, you have to go and actually put pressure on Legion. Otherwise, you're kind of just wasting energy where you could help your team out in the lead out if that's what it's going to come down to, which by the looks of it, it looks like it's coming down to a field sprint. So everyone who's here, I want you to put your comments or your chat on your race predictions. So let's see everyone place their race winning. Let's see the whole podium. Who's going 1, 2, 3 in this race? Let's hear it in the chat, and we can discuss. Trees is asking, what's the point of these guys going hard out on the front only to get pulled back? Are they just trying to make Legion tired? So ideally, they want to get a breakaway established and have them have to work harder than they normally would. So if they're normally doing 400 watts on the front, if there's a serious breakaway off the front, maybe they have to pull at 450 or so. And ideally, they want to tire out that lead out train so Justin and Corey are kind of on their own. But what that Best Buddies rider did wasn't really smart. If you're just going to go and attack only to just sit up after you have your move established, it doesn't really do anything except waste your energy. Jay's asking who's the rider in Stars and Stripes. That is Travis McCabe. He is a local in Orlando, Florida on the Best Buddies team. Mr. Dogson says Corey Williams. Jelaine says Corey. Cruz says Tyler Pierce. Is Tyler Pierce in this race? So Jelon says Corey, Justin, and Tyler W. Khaled's calling Corey Strickland and a Best Buddies guy. I'm going to say Corey for the win. Daniel Estavez in second. And Justin in third. Dustin Armstrong is saying, I believe that was Marcotte. He has too much of a veteran to pull a knucklehead move like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his strategy was. Maybe he was hoping another rider would come with him, and then once he realized nobody was coming with, then it's better to just sit up and conserve. That could have been one of his thoughts or reasoning. Lucas is saying, hey man, love your commentary. Thanks, Lucas. Appreciate you. Appreciate you commenting and hanging out for this weekend racing and live stream. Dustin Armstrong is saying McCabe third. Cruzmond is saying Tyler Pierce in first, Hernandez in second. I'm waiting for his third. He's probably going to say, like, I don't know. Let's hear it. So this pace is really picking up now. You can kind of just see how fast they're coming through that corner right there. That they are flying. And it kind of looks like Thomas Gibbons is still on the back. It's not really a great place to be right now. I would like to see him further up into this field, especially since he's sitting 5th overall. He needs to protect his 5th place position. Or maybe this is him moving up on the left-hand side. Let's see. I'm looking for number 25. That is Thomas Gibbons. As we're coming into the last lap, guys. So we have the last lap coming in after this last downhill section. We have one more time around and one more time up this hill. As they roll through this corner, real hot, taking it real close to that curb. And we're coming into one lap to go. And we have the Legion lead-out train still completely intact. Completely strung out. There's a few gaps opening up. A couple Best Buddies riders a little far back. And it looks like Daniel Estaves is alone right now behind the 5 Legion riders. Oh, no, we have... Okay, so he still has Travis McCabe with him. And it looks like they're moving up outside, trying to get into this and disrupt this Legion train as they fly up this hill. Okay, we have a Legion rider jumping off. Looks like Thomas Gibbons is moving up on the right-hand side of the road. Let's see the riders. We don't need to see the fans right now. We could watch them later. Okay, so they're coming around up this uphill up to this last right-hand bend up to the uphill section of the KOM. We have Travis McCabe in the lead out of Legion with Corey Williams right behind him. And we have Legion looking back, making sure they're still on their wheel as they come down to the final right-hand bend. We have one Legion rider and a different team. Travis McCabe lost a couple positions in here, but we have Corey Williams just right behind his Legion rider, about to take 2nd place. And we have, looks like Justin that finished 1st. So they went 1-2 again. I didn't miss who got 3rd. Or no, that is not Justin Williams. I'm not sure who that is, to be honest. Cruz says Phil Guyman in 3rd. Wow. Okay, so clean last lap. That was some good racing. We had Best Buddies trying to make a move, but they kind of lost it after the Red Bull KOM section. Unfortunately, they kind of blew it. They were sitting about 3rd wheel, and it kind of looks like over the crest of that hill, the Legion lead out kind of sat up a little bit, and they kind of lost. Travis McCabe kind of lost some positions, and it looks like he finished around 7th or so. Looks like Daniel Estaves was able to pick out a top 5 potentially. And we had Tyler Williams potentially move up to 2nd overall and just push Justin down. I'm not sure exactly where Justin Williams finished. But awesome last lap. That was some hard racing up that hill. They were flying up there. Ted King says Tyler Williams. All right, thanks. Bill says, where's Colin? Not sure. He's not much of a sprinter. He's kind of a long breakaway guy. So he was probably just somewhere in the midfield area, which is basically like top 20 There's not too many guys left. Tree says, what bikes are Legion riding? I believe they are on the Specialized Tarmac SL7. It looks like they have DT Swiss wheels. I'm waiting to see if they have the results posted. I want to see where Thomas Gibbons finished. Okay, so we had Martinez from Miami for third. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. We'll see if they have the results posted soon. But I appreciate everyone coming to hang out for the last 3 days. It's been a lot of fun. Appreciate the support. And we'll do it again before the year's up. We'll try to get another couple of these live streams in. Other than that, I have a couple of videos coming out this week on Monday and Wednesday. So be sure to check that out. And Aaron J is asking, so Corey won the overall. I believe so. I believe he won the overall. Yeah, because he had 58 points going in. Tyler Williams was 49. So Tyler Williams probably overtook Justin Williams' spot for second in the Omnium. Jeff Klein saying, put the results up. Okay, let me see if I can find them. Let me see if I can find the results. So bear with me for a few moments here. Let's see. So they do not have the results available yet. At least from where I'm looking. See if I'll look in one other spot, see if I can find it. All right, let's see if I can pull this up quick. Give me 2 seconds. Anyone who's still hanging out, I'm going to try to pull up the results. So here are your unofficial results for today. We had Tyler Williams winning it. Yep, you're welcome, guys, for the commentary. Yeah, but let's just go over these results quick. So we had Tyler Williams. These are the unofficial results, so just so you know. Tyler Williams winning it. Corey Williams in third. Martinez in third. And then we had another Legion in fourth. Michael Hernandez in 5th. We had a Project Echelon rider, Peter, in 6th. Travis McKay finished 7th. Abshire 8th. McDonald 9th. And Gibbons finished 10th. So that's your top 10 for you right there. We had Colin Strickland in 16th. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks so much for everyone who's come to hang out and, comment in the chat and everything. That's awesome. I'll be sure to do it again since we have such a great feedback from everyone. So hopefully you all have a great rest of your Sunday evening and a great upcoming week. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later.